Callum and I are hungry, so we're going to do some lunch for us. And the idea, first of all, is for you to just see, okay, what have I got in the fridge? What can I just produce? So I want you to start being creative rather than having an actual recipe. Just see, what have I got lying around that I can make some good, healthy, nutritious food from on the spot that isn't going to take an hour's cooking, but you can actually produce it in like 10 minutes or so. So what I have found is literally a leek. We've got some beans, we've got a tomato, and we've got some mushrooms. And you can literally just use any veggies you've got in your fridge that you might find, even if it's just a manky carrot and an onion and a potato. Just chop it up, throw it into a frying pan, and just see what happens. Put some spices on and be creative. So that's what we're going to do today. So we're going to do a little leek mushroom green bean stir fry, which we're going to serve on sourdough bread. So what I usually do to actually not stir fry in too much fat, I kind of steam rather than stir fry. So I'm going to put a tiny bit of water into a frying pan and cook the veg so they're kind of al dente, so there's a bit of bite still to them, but they're cooked before I add the oil in. So if you do cook with oil, if you want to fry instead of kind of steaming, use coconut oil, organic, cold pressed if you can. So we are going to literally just put a bit of water into the pan, just enough so that you know by the end of the cooking process, the water will have evaporated. So we're going to put the leeks in. We're going to chop some green beans.
When it comes to cooking healthy food, what's something that people miss or might brush under the rug or not consider so much?
From my perspective, what we are trying to do, or what I'm trying to do with everything I put into my body, is I look at the world and at everything that happens really as vibrational frequency and energy. And I think that is going to be the next big milestone of humankind, to start looking at the world and at everything in an energetic framework. While I'm cooking, I'm trying to use local organic food. If it can be foraged, even better. So what you want is a high nutritional value. So if we're thinking of vegetables growing in a field of monoculture, the whole jungle principle where one plant supports the neighboring plant and where the nutrients that one plant takes out of the soil, the next plant puts into the soil. So we're having a circular system that kind of just keeps itself stable. That has gone completely out the window if I have a monoculture. So even if I do organic farming, but I have a whole field of just potatoes, there is going to be a nutritional value that is dropped simply because it's a monoculture. So if you can include foraged foods into anything you cook, and maybe throw in some, let's say, nettle leaves or dandelion leaves or something like that into the food you're cooking, already you have increased the nutritional energetic frequency and the nutritional value in the meal you're producing. So it's bearing that in mind. But we also live in a society where most of us buy our stuff in the supermarket. It's an awareness thing. So if you can bring that in, great. If you can't, go to the supermarket, have a look. If you can afford to buy your carrots organic or certain foods organic, do so. There is a massive difference in the energy level of all the plants all the food you consume. So if it's grown organic, already the grower will have a different energy and a different relationship to the food they grow. They're not there to exploit the soil, to exploit the plants. An organic grower normally has some sort of love towards Mother Earth, and that's why they've chosen to grow the way they grow. Love and passion for what people do is an energetic frequency that is going to be in the food when you consume it. If you take a battery chicken and you think, okay, there's a chicken that has grown up in a little cage, not very happy, cannot express itself, cannot roam freely, the energy of that is going to be in the meat that you put in your body. So again, it's having the awareness of what's the energetic value I'm consuming and I want in my energy system. It's just things to think about. So if you go to the supermarket, can you afford to get the free range chicken? can you afford to get to maybe even buy the organic free-range chicken? So it's different layers that are there, that as consumers you have a choice. Where do you put your money? Do you get a Starbucks coffee, or do you say, you know what, I'm going to save the £3 and I'm going to put it into my weekend chicken? So those choices are always there. It's where do you put your money? I totally get that some of us are literally at the moment struggling to make ends meet, and you will not have that choice. Although having said that, when you actually look in the supermarket, often organic carrots can be cheaper than the non-organic carrots, or the organic onions might be cheaper or whatever. And the only reason we eat is because we want the energy that the food contains. So today all the veg that we've got here comes from Riverford, as always, from a veggie box that gets delivered once a week. So today it got delivered this morning, so all the stuff is super fresh. There'll be in the link in the description. Yeah, there's a referral link. Go and get your veggies from Riverford. I absolutely love what these guys are doing, and to me it all comes round. What you put into the system, you get out of the system. So
that includes where you put your money.
That includes where you put your money, exactly. And the options are there now. You know, people say to me, oh my God, I didn't even realize that existed. Whether it is banking, whether it is where you buy your clothing, or whether it is where you buy your vegetables. All those things are there, you know. They exist now. We're not living in a world anymore where those choices aren't there. So it's learning to see the world as energy. And if I can, with these videos that we do, get the world, or just some of you, to start doing that, I will have done my job on this planet. So what we're putting in now, and I love this is Vogel. I get it in my local health food shop, and it's called Herbamare, and it's just a herbal salt. So it's a salt that has got celery, leek, cress, onion, chives, parsley, lovage, garlic, basil, marjoram, rosemary, thyme, and kelp in it. So it's all natural herbs that go in, and it really does add flavor to the food you cook. And there is not much more that you need other than just adding that to our veggies, and you can see they're all like cooking nicely. So the water, if you come a bit closer, has now evaporated. What we're going to do is take it off the stove. I'll put a bit of pepper on first though. Fresh pepper. I personally love spices, so if you have a spice drawer, you can be creative and choose whatever you like. If it needs to be quick, I'm a big fan of just a normal little curry powder. You know, curry powder is just a mix of various spices, so instead of having to take them all individually and adding them in, you can just add a little teaspoonful of that. Spices generally also have incredible nutritional value. They're really healthy for our systems. If you don't do anything, grow a few herbs and spices in your garden if you can, or on the windowsill. So what we don't want to do is, for instance, add olive oil or fry in olive oil, because olive oil has a really low, quite a low smoke point. Coconut oil has a higher smoke point, so you can fry in that, like we've mentioned before. And then when it's off and it's cooled down a little bit, you can add your olive oil, because your body wants the oil. So to be able to absorb the vitamins and the enzymes and everything in the vegetables, your body needs oil. But you don't want the oil to have reached its smoke point, which means it loses all its nutritional value. So we're adding it afterwards. I generally to add some sunflower seeds. Literally just like probably a couple of tablespoons. And again, so seeds and nuts, when we look at them in terms of life force energy again, a seed holds the blueprint of life. So a seed is what we plant for new life to come out. So a seed has got the highest nutritional value in it in terms of energy, because it literally contains life and like life force. So adding sunflower seeds, pumpkin seeds, chia seeds, nuts to your food and just sprinkling it over, immediately you're increasing the nutritional value of whatever it is you're eating. But so sometimes I quite like the combination of something savory with something sweet. So what I'm gonna also add in is some dried figs. Obviously, if you don't like the sweetness of those, then don't bother. So these are organic dried figs, which, you know, we just get online, and they get delivered in like a big 2-kilo bag. And we're just gonna chop them up into little pieces and add them in. Figs are really good for iron, and it just adds extra nutrients in and gives it a little sweet touch as well. So this has been off the stove now for a few minutes, and we're just going to drizzle some olive oil over the top. So we've got our fatty acids that are going to help the body absorb the vitamins that are in there. So that's going to be our topping. This you can now use either, you can eat it with rice, you could have buckwheat on it, you could have quinoa with it and just mix that in. You could have couscous and mix that in. So what we are going to do is we've just got some sourdough bread, and we're just going to toast a slice of bread. So, you know, if we spread the love with everything we do, then you are going to eat that love, and that's going to be vibrating in every single one of your trillions of cells. Then you can share that love with the world, and we're creating a whole new system that's not based on fear and exploitation, but on love and sharing.
Beautiful. Oh, mate.
I'm a big fan of butter. I think if there's one thing I couldn't live without in the kitchen, it is literally butter. So this is organic, unsalted butter, which we're going to spread on our toast. And I absolutely love when the butter just runs into the warm toast. So, but yeah, obviously, if you're vegan, you wouldn't be doing that. Careful with margarines. There are some cold-pressed margarines in certain sort of health food shops that are okay to eat, but you might be better actually just drizzling some olive oil over your bread if you want some fat on there. And I didn't time it. We obviously did chat while we were doing this, but you know, this will not take more than 10-12 minutes to produce. Now, I promise you, if you take a ready meal out the freezer and you stick it in the oven, that is also going to take 12 minutes. And you are not going to have anywhere near the nutritional value and the energy that you're going to get out of something like this. So just start thinking about energy when you come to eating. If it was the summer, we'd go out now and put a nice little flower on the top. But it isn't. It's January. There you go. Super easy, super quick. Obviously taste it. If you need salt and pepper in addition, and put some more on. And voila! So simple.
So simple and delicious. I like the figs, they're a really good touch.